Hate creates more hate. And when we respond with the same energy, it multiplies itself. We've seen this play out again and again. Words become venom, venom spreads, and suddenly the storm feels louder than calm. Division seems constant these days, and rage is everywhere. And the loudest voices, they seem to drown out the quiet ones. And yet, rage itself is not wrong. Rage can be sacred when it turns inward. It shows us where we've been hurt, where boundaries were crossed, where grief still lingers. But rage has two paths. You have the outward rage, which destroys, and you have the inward rage that teaches. So I want to ask you this. When you feel that fire rise, do you let it consume the world around you, or do you pause long enough to learn what it's trying to show you? Because the truth is, what we fuel grows. And every one of us is adding to the collective current with our thoughts, with our words, with our choices. Rest in that for a moment. This is where our ability lies. This is where peace begins.
This space honors all paths of connection, healing, and family, grounding ourselves in sacred teachings as we are anchored in ancient roots, ready to rise from the soil of our past. I'm Michelle Irene Stupsky, here to guide you through stories, insights, and spiritual practices that will help you heal and rediscover your true belonging.
Thank you for joining me again for Spiritual Insight on Angels, Adoption, and Ancestors, where we dive into the unknown energy and forces that surrounds us and what we can do to alchemize that energy. Because we are the creators of our own reality. Regardless of what's going on around us, we have the choice to choose how we feel. My name is Michelle Irene Stupsky, and I am a certified spiritual life coach, an author, and an oracle card creator. For more than a decade, I have been helping hundreds of women, and some men mixed in there as well, help them to find more light on their path as they walk this journey of life. How blessed we are to have this time together, to breathe, to appreciate what we do have, to create sacred space for reflection and renewal. I'd like to bring to your attention today the word awareness. Awareness is the anchor that keeps us steady. It asks us, what am I letting into my heart today? Am I consuming endless outrage? Am I repeating words that wound? Or am I choosing to plant words that heal? Which brings me to prayer. Prayer is one of the most powerful practices that we have. It doesn't mean we bypass reality. It doesn't mean we ignore pain. It doesn't mean that we step in without clarity. We step with compassion and connection to something greater. So when you pray with awareness of the energy of your intention, your words, you don't just ask for peace. You become a channel for peace. You shift the current. You open the door for healing energy to move through you and ripple outward. So if you find yourself overwhelmed by what you are seeing or hearing, let that moment become a prayer. Whisper peace for someone you'll never meet. Ask for healing for the places in pain. Call on love to rise where hate is loud, because prayer changes things. And prayer changes us. Let's practice for a moment together. If you're able to close your eyes, then do so as you place your hand over your heart and you take a small, slow breath in through your nose. Hold it on the top as you exhale and whisper softly to yourself, peace begins within me. And another breath in, release. Now imagine sending that peace outward to a loved one, to a stranger, to a place in the world that feels heavy. Whisper to them, may love rise where hate is loud. May peace hold where division grows. Or simply just say, I'm sending you love. One more deep breath in Exhale out in silent prayer and know that this ripple continues far beyond what you can see. Choice is a sacred power. Awareness opens that door. Prayer steadies the field, and choice is where your sacred power lives. Choosing peace does not mean ignorance. Choosing love does not mean weakness. It is the radical choice to refuse to let the storm decide who you are. So today, make a small sacred choice. Pause before you post, breathe before you respond, and prayer before you react. Each choice is a seed, and those seeds grow into the reality that we all share. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to join the storm to be a force for change. You can be the calm in the center of the storm. You can be the one who prays when others shout. You can be the one who steadies light when the world feels so overwhelmingly dark. There will always be so much happening in our world, and that will never change. But how you respond, that is your choice, and that can change. So today, let your awareness guide you. Let prayer strengthen you, and let peace be the current that you create. Which reminds me of a story when I was a little girl and I was in church, and I remember holding my dad's hand, and we would sing together and be so excited when the prayer of St. Francis came up. And you may know it as "Make me a channel of your peace." Even as a child, I knew it was special. As I'm getting goosebumps of the memory, I could feel the energy coming from my dad. And when we sang those words, somehow our voices harmonized in a way that felt magical. It's as if the prayer itself was carrying us, and it still does today. At the time, I didn't fully understand, but later I realized the depth of the prayer and how it captures the essence of what we're speaking about today. Becoming a channel of peace. His prayer is both ancient and timeless, and it's a map for how to walk in a world that often feels divided. It doesn't ignore pain, it transforms it. It shows us how to be that channel, to take what is heavy and turn it into something holy and sacred. So let me share the words with you right now. Again, the title is "Make Me a Channel of Your Peace," and it begins with, "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace." This is the opening request. It's your invitation to become a vessel, a channel. It's not asking for peace just for ourselves. It's asking to become peace in the world. It reminds us that peace isn't something we wait to receive. It's something we embody and radiate and create and choose. The next line is, "Where there is hatred, let me sow love." Here, the prayer acknowledges reality. There is hatred, but instead of mirroring it back, we are called to plant love in its path. Love becomes the seed that changes the soil of our world. Where there is injury, pardon. Injury is going to come from words, actions, and wounds that travel millions of miles away and generations away. But healing begins with forgiveness, not to erase what's happened, but to free ourselves from carrying it forward. And the next line is, "Where there is doubt, faith." Doubt is part of being human. This line asks us to lean into trust, faith that there is more than what we see, faith that the unseen light is guiding us even in times of uncertainty. Where there's despair, hope. Despair is heavy. It's like a cloak that covers everything. Hope is the spark that lifts it. This is about becoming that spark for others, to shine where hopelessness feels overwhelming. And now we have, "Where there is darkness, light." Darkness is not the enemy. It is the place where light can shine brightest. This line reminds us that every small act of compassion, every moment of awareness is a beam of light cutting through shadows. And where there is sadness, joy. Sadness is inevitable, but joy doesn't have to despair because of it. Joy is not denial. It is remembering beauty even in the sorrow. It is the song that reminds us life is still sacred. This prayer is not just a hymn, it's a teaching, and it reminds us that peace is not passive, it is active. It asks us to choose, to meet hatred with love, to meet despair with hope, to bring light into dark spaces. And when you let these words move through you, you become more than a person reciting them. You become a light worker, a channel of peace itself. And that's a beautiful thing. So take one phrase from the prayer or take them all, whichever you choose, but make sure you embody the meaning behind the words and feel the power behind them when you recite them, sing them, or read them. And before we close, I want to invite you to listen to my episode on sacred rage, and I'll put the link below. This is a conversation that stirred something in you. You might want to listen to that. You'll find the link, like I said, in the notes. Or if you're looking for a simple practice to begin learning the art of pause to bring more peace into your life, go ahead and listen to the Sacred Pause podcast. I'll put that link below too, because there's a beautiful short meditation designed to anchor you into the practice of slowing down, listening, and reconnecting. It's a beautiful place to begin your journey or to carry on from where you're at. If this episode resonated, please like, comment, share, do all the things, because it helps us reach more people. And the more listeners we have, the wider our ripple of light becomes. And you can be a part of that. Together, we can make this world a better place. One person, one prayer, one word, one choice at a time. It begins with you. And as we bring this time together to a close, I want to leave you with this thought, that the wings of angels, they hold your love within your heart. Let them enter into your mind so that you can discover the angel within. Imagine those angel wings cradling your soul, reminding you that you are protected, guided, and loved. That no matter how loud the storm may seem, you can rest in the shelter of peace. Carry that image with you today. Wings of light wrapped around you, and remember that you are never alone. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. Until next time, I'm holding the light with you.